Okay, so the current name of what I'm going to show you is called the Changemaker Roadmap. The feedback that I've gotten from a couple of the coaches and mentors for Shifco is they don't love the name Changemaker. So we'll talk about why that is in a minute, and why I'm looking for a name. So this I want to share with you a vision that I got when I was at the symposium in Costa Rica, that really was a game changer for me. That as we were sitting around, the symposium was unbelievably magical. And as we were sitting around and debriefing at the end, I realized, I was like, if there were 1,000 people that we were collaborating with and helping each other the way that we did at the symposium, how much good could we do in the world? There was something about this number of 1,000 change makers. And when we were discussing, like, what was it about the folks that we were interacting with, we were like, they're up to something, they're doing good in the world. So I want to share with you a little bit about what my thoughts are, but I'm really going to be asking a lot of questions and listening to your input, because we're trying to find a way to communicate what we're after, because we want to serve more people like you. And the board of Shifco really feels like we are ready to press on the gas. And I mean, really press on the gas. We've been growing very organically up until this point, and we thought last year was the year we would press on the gas. But that ended up not working out the way that we thought, but we're ready now. And we're just trying to figure out how to do that and how to communicate. There's something about the term conscious entrepreneur, which we've been using for 4 years, that's not resonating. And samples of what I mean by that is when we're talking to somebody about Shifco and they're like, well, I never really thought of myself as a conscious entrepreneur, but maybe I am. Or, wow, it sounds like, you just help people that are coaches and mentors, not everybody, and if somebody's in conscious capitalism or they're in B Lab, they might recognize the conscious entrepreneur term. But if they don't know about conscious capitalism and they don't know about B Lab, it's foreign to them, which was really surprising. So we've identified, coming out of the symposium, we identified that there is a type of entrepreneur that we believe we're really set up well to serve. And we just want to find words that they connect with. So let me show you what that means. So the leader that we believe our programs and our platform is well suited, they care about 4 things. 1, they care about impact. They're on a mission to make a bigger impact. 2nd is they're purposeful. They're doing work that they feel like they were born to do, like they can't not do it. 3rd is, on the left side, they care about growing a profitable business and they know that profit is the way that you increase the impact that you're making. But they also care about their own evolution. They're committed to lifelong learning. They're, whether we're here or not, they're always learning new things. They want to be a better person. They want to work on the energy side of their life as well as the business side of their life. So when we kind of plotted out terms that we see bantied around, there's a group of entrepreneurs that we've termed heart-centered entrepreneurs, where they're on a mission, they're purposeful, but it's not really about growing a profitable business, and they're doing good things. It's not a positive or negative. They're heart-centered. And what we think is happening is that when we use the term conscious entrepreneur, people that don't know that term are thinking we only serve that segment. Again, that's not a bad thing, but I think there's other organizations that are better suited to serve that segment. Inner MBA is a great solution for that segment. And then down in the bottom is, conscious entrepreneur, cares about growing the business, also cares about their own consciousness. Sometimes people put us in that bucket. And then I would say soulful entrepreneur, they're doing purposeful work in personal evolution. They might be heart math coaches and things like that. And then mission-driven businesses are really about B Lab businesses, B certified businesses. Some of the conscious capitalism business, I think, are mission-driven. What we're trying to really figure out is we believe that our avatar, the person that we're trying to attract cares about all four things. And what we're finding in some of the test marketing that we've been doing in the last 90 days is that the term conscious entrepreneur, people are putting us in a limited category, and they're not realizing that we care equally about business growth as we do impact, and equally about personal evolution as we do purposeful work, and equally about purposeful work as we do profitable growth. And you know, we looked at this last year as well, and we really thought that by partnering with some of the other organizations, we could crack the nut. But we're still seeing this disconnect when people hear the term conscious entrepreneur. If they're not from conscious capitalism, or they're not from a B local chapter or B Lab, they don't really know what it means. Now, I'm going to go through in a minute, and I'm going to give you a couple of terms that we want to test, but I want to see if there's questions or comments about this, if anybody feels the same or has seen anything different. I'll just open the floor.
And Terry, just to be clear, you're really only focusing on entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All of, even up at the upper levels of members we serve that have multi-million-dollar businesses, they're still entrepreneurs. They're still founders.
Gotcha.
Terry, based on all my conversations with you over the years, I like purposeful entrepreneur. There's a reason I do what I do.
Okay. All right. Other thoughts or questions?
It's very clear how you've put this in a diagram. I love it, and it makes a lot of sense. So it's yeah, it really points out the different segments that SHIFCO serves. And I mean, we'll see what you have to say, but you know, I think SHIFCO serves each of those segments, as well as the shifters who are at that center in that navy blue dot. I think because some people are just going to be mission driven, and some people are just going to be consciouspreneurs. Some people are just going to be like, I think if you were to survey everybody, like, why are you here? You're going to get a smattering of all of that. And it's probably not the majority who's in the blue dot. However, SHIFCO is very good at serving everybody. So I'm finding a new term is great. But I'm not sure that doesn't still need to be segmented in some way. But so that's my thoughts.
That's great input. And we thought about that with programming as well. If somebody had a bend in one direction, you know, we could figure out, you know, modifying the programming for them. And I'm not saying we have to come up with a new term, but we are trying to find the words that describe where people recognize us, like, whoa, I didn't know that existed. That's what we're looking for. So it's not just the term, although we're going to be testing some terms. We're also going to be looking at the language, because it's fascinating to me when somebody comes from, let's just say down here, where they're really, they want to grow their business profitably. So that's the intention, so that they can do these other things. Yeah. Their reaction to us is, oh, I just thought you did this. You know, I just thought you only serve these kind of people. And they're missing the fact that that's a huge part of what we do. Right. And then conversely, you know, people have felt like, you know, that there's too much on the personal evolution. And my philosophy, as everybody knows, is your business grows as you evolve as a conscious entrepreneur. So you can't leave that out. So there's something missing somewhere in the messaging, and that's the purpose of getting your input, as well as the other 10 or 15 people that aren't here that I invited to this. So let me show you some of the different terms.
Before you jump, something just dawned on me, having had the conversation earlier this week and this week. What I'm hearing is that the person that is encompassing what we're looking for, they're intentional about all of these.
Yeah.
They might not be aware of what actually their intentionality is creating or driving towards or has evolved or impacted. However, because they're intentional, they are garnering some levels of success, some levels of influence, some levels of impact. And when they become conscious and add that to the intentionality, if I said that word correctly, that's when it becomes expansive and explosive, the impact and how they begin to really, their business thrives and grows and scales.
Man, you just hit the nail on the head. They are intentional about all four of these things. And let's talk about what that means, because you hit the nail on the head. So somebody can be making an impact in a small vertical or on their street. They could be making the impact, but if their intention is to impact those people that they feel like they're called to serve, that creates a ripple that changes the world.
Yes.
So that somebody can be intentional about doing work they really feel like they were born to do. And I have found, as an investor in purposeful businesses and as a purposeful entrepreneur, I can't not do the work that I'm doing. Like, even the days that I want to quit and say, what was I doing? I'm going to go back and do it the old way. Even those days, I can't not do it. And that's the purpose side. I also can't not constantly study and evolve because I want to become my best self. And I also can't not think about the profitability. So that can't not part of this, that it doesn't have to be a big scale impact. It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar company, but the person, the business that we are meant to serve cares about all four things, and they care about them with intention. They might be different areas of focus at different times, but they care about all four.
You know, if I could jump in here, as I'm listening to this conversation, when I talk to people about ShiftGo, I find I avoid using the word conscious entrepreneur because I feel like people don't necessarily relate to that. And just based on the comments that were just said, it's something that maybe gets achieved after a while, but really they want to focus on whatever they're driven to do. And so I think it's, you know, I'm liking this impact driven. I'm liking this, well, not so much intention, but I like impact because that's a result that people want, a result that could affect all four areas. So I think conscious also kind of makes it vague. Like, what is conscious? What is consciousness versus being purposeful? I mean, there's a conscious can mean a lot of different things. So I'm kind of liking where this is going and realizing how much I avoid using the phrase conscious entrepreneur, because I don't think it's going to relate to the people that I think could really benefit and would relate to ShiftGo.
Yeah, and the fascinating thing about that, Elizabeth, I mean, you know, I started calling myself a conscious entrepreneur shortly after joining Conscious Capitalism in 2011. But when I talk to people that don't know about Conscious Capitalism or B-Lab, they assume that I'm talking about people like that.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, but that
Exactly.
they're not about the business side of things,
Yeah.
which is, or that, you know, they're coaches. And again, that's not a bad thing because I'm a coach. So it's like, well, wait a minute, you know, we're about growing the business to grow the impact. We're about helping you get rid of things that are standing in the way of you being more purposeful. We're about helping you evolve into your highest self. We're about all of those things, but somehow it's not landing. Somehow they're not hearing that.
Well, I think it's about meeting them where they are, you know, rather than making them kind of, I don't want to say accept, but acknowledge the grander purpose of ShiftGo, because it is grand and I believe in it. It's just not making people go to meeting them at A, B, or C, as opposed to expecting them to understand Z.
Okay, that's good input. Other questions or thoughts before we kind of talk about language just a bit?
Just that I've kind of always had the same issue, you know, like finding the context that brings it all together. For me, it's like there's something about the word impact that I think could be like impact plus something that could help with that, because it is both like, financial impact, social impact, or, you're putting a mark. Like that's the whole point, right? Like entrepreneurs who want to put a mark in this world. And you can only really do that if you're at a certain scale, or if you can have a certain reach. So impact or mark or something that's, it's also when you say impact, it's like powerful.
Mhm.
And Terry, when you talked about consciousness and investing, I come back to what I think you're talking about is impact investment. And I think perhaps part of a struggle here is using terms that are commonly accepted, right? So there is, to me, there's something that works with impact or works with mission driven, because I think they're terms that are more commonly accepted and understood than purposeful was. Well, purposeful, I'm not sure about, but conscious for sure. Yeah, conscious capitalism worked a long time to get conscious capitalism to mean something.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And even like visually and from a brand perspective, the word impact, like you could see how, I think energetically it also evokes a certain feeling, right? And I think that's the whole, like in really wanting to make true change, we need some sort of a force, more, not, I don't want to say forceful, but we need strength, right? So I think what turns some people off about conscious capitalism, the phrase, I think, it seems like an oxymoron to some people, and then like they get turned off by the word conscious. It's too it's too soft or something like that. So I think like the word impact, doesn't have any of that. But then I think if you combine it with another word, or there's just something really solid about it, about that word when you speak it.
Okay, so Rocio, you've, as a leader of a conscious capitalism chapter, you have seen people have that reaction to the word conscious, which isn't what it means, but you've seen them have that reaction.
Yeah, there's like, but then again, it's also depends on who we're speaking to, like for the people who are on some sort of a spiritual path, or they've done some personal growth, they're like it's interesting to them, like, so are we speaking to the people who are already sold, or are we trying to convert, or are we speaking to those who are kind of like on the fringe, like one toe in, one toe out?
Yeah, and I think it's I don't think we know the answer to that, but I mean we have some really good marketing data from this year, and as you remember with the purpose times profit, the click-through on that name didn't, I think it was purpose times profit. I can't remember PXP, but it was, I think the word purpose was first. And the clicks on it were nowhere near what they should have been compared to other things we've done. So we were like, okay, purpose might not be the right word either. Because again, it sounds too soft. And anybody that's done any of our programming on the business side knows that it's not soft. Differentiation is hard, growth sprint is hard. It's not meant to be soft, because we want to help you grow a profitable business. But the softness is part of being conscious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
One question?
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask the question, who is currently your ideal client? Because, we're talking to, our audience varies. But if you were to put into words who the ideal client is of ShiftCo, I mean, I know that's taken a step back, but who's our ideal client?
Yeah, so our 3 rings are number 1, they're a founder in a business under 5 million. That's the outer ring. Secondly, they care about growing their brand and their business. And then third is they're committed to their own evolution. So those are our 3 rings for those of you that have done differentiation.
Okay.
Okay, so let's test some words.
Thank you.
And part of the exercise that we're going to be going through together is testing some words against each other, but also testing language in general. So the first one obviously is conscious entrepreneur. you resonate with the higher consciousness in business. So that's going to be one we're going to test. Second, we're calling it an intentional entrepreneur, building a company that makes the world better, because we think that that kind of ties into what Michelle said. Now, that's not a word that you see used. I've seen conscious entrepreneur used, obviously, and we've been using it for 5 years. I've seen purposepreneur and heart-centered, but I've never seen intentional entrepreneur used. So we would have to do some education around that, but that's one. Third is impactpreneur, driven by impact, and understand that personal growth and business growth are key, because we're also going to be testing the language underneath it. And then the fourth is Changemaker. Now, I was hot to trot on this Changemaker thing. And I mean, I was down the road, you know, rolling out my marketing strategy, and our member success team was like, time out. And they said that, and I heard this, you know, across the board. It wasn't just a few people. I heard this across the board, that conscious entrepreneurs know deep down inside they're a change maker, but they're humble, and that word is kind of too much kind of in your space. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I mean by change maker. But I want to have you guys, first of all, kind of react to these 4 terms.
Terry, why do you have it impactpreneur as opposed to impact entrepreneur?
Just to play around with it. I mean, I could change it to impact entrepreneur. I could. I just was playing around with words.
Yeah, no, it obviously begs the question, what is it? But the fact that you have to figure out what it is, you know, I'm just thinking impact and entrepreneur would be more readily understandable.
Yeah, that'd be easy. I just want to try some different things.
Yeah, I totally get it.
When I hear change maker coming from the business world and doing lots of change management, I almost think it's so broad, right? It's like, it makes sense, but it's like, what kind of change maker are you wanting to be, right? Everything has changed. Everything you do in business is going from A to Z or A to B. So I'm wondering if that tells the story broad enough, or what you want to tell people when you use change maker. I like the term, but that's what I thought, just coming from my background.
Okay.
And I do like intentional entrepreneur, because I think it kind of pulls in a lot of those pillars that you're talking about. And, you know, I was thinking about the word woke, not that you should use that word, right? But it's really right, because it's not. But you know what I mean? It's like the people that you want to attract are people who get it. Do you know what I mean? It's like they get it. They know that there needs to be a difference in how we do things as a business, how we do things as a human, right? How we do things for our planet. So that's why I feel conscious does it for me, but intentional, I think, pulls a bunch of that stuff in, kind of the wokeness of it.
Okay, that's good feedback. Other thoughts?
I also like the intentional entrepreneur. I just think that, again, the feeling of it is a little bit soft, and then the tagline is a little bit soft. So I would combine the intentional entrepreneur with a stronger tagline, like maybe the tagline for the impactpreneur, massaging it. So intentional entrepreneur, you could still be driven by impact, right? So something like that, like strong and soft combined, but bring a little bit more weight into the tagline.
Okay.
Just a couple of thoughts. So what about impact change maker?
Somebody
Go
else.
ahead, Michelle. Go for it.
No, I'm just piggybacking or dovetailing on what Rocio just said, that I like the intentional entrepreneur. It felt soft, but when she mentioned adding the tagline of the impactpreneur to that, it strengthens it.
Great, I like that. I think that's a good combination.
Okay.
I like that idea too, although I personally think business growth should come before personal growth, because I think until people start getting some traction with their business, I mean, I understand that the two need to kind of happen together. Your business doesn't grow if you don't grow as a person, but I think for a lot of people, they're focused on survival and growing, doing their mission and stuff like that. And not that it's second, but I think leading with growing their business might be stronger.
Yeah, I agree.
Elizabeth, what you just said is true, because we attracting the people who want to grow their business, and once they come in, explaining to them that your business growth is caused, or the catalyst for that is your personal growth, right? We want to get them in because they want to grow the business and make that impact through their businesses, help them with that personal. I like that, because otherwise what we attract the other way is going to be different from putting
Yeah, true. And another question is, could it be synonymous, right? Understanding that personal growth and business growth. Is there a way to say it like?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can definitely play around with that. That's good feedback.
I would, when I just look at only the term by itself, intentional entrepreneur, that wouldn't light me up. And I feel like I'm a super good fit for this organization. Intentional is like, oh, you're being intentional about your business. I'm not seeing the good for the world in that immediately when I read just those two words together. So even though, if you dive deeper, then of course, I'm more intentional about what I'm doing and the why behind my intentions. So my whys are to make a big difference in the world, right? So I would say just the two words itself would not have maybe sucked me in, where even though I didn't get conscious entrepreneur, it did resonate better with me. So I'm not sure that's there yet either. And same with impact, like, yes, that's why I do what I want to do, but impact wasn't, I discovered that kind of after I was drawn to this organization. I was drawn to this organization because I knew I was doing something that, made my heart flutter with joy, in that I needed to do it in a more substantial way because I'm supposed to be doing this, right? It felt like this is the calling, and, I need to grow to be able to give these gifts in a more significant way. And so impact to me is all of these are more like, so business. And although I came to grow my business, my purpose was stronger than the business growth. My purpose was really the thing that was my driving factor, is purpose. And I know you said you've tested that and that didn't really work as much, but I just thought I'd share my thoughts.
Okay. To kind of add on to that a bit, I'm kind of favoring intentional entrepreneur too, but I like having the driven by impact sub-sentence. But I'm wondering if the sentence couldn't be something like, driven by impact and understanding that business mission and growth are key.
Okay. And then Corey, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, I've been listening. It's been a great conversation. I am a fan of Changemaker, but I can see how it can be too broad and be off-putting for people, because change means I have to do something like work in order to make this happen. And so Changemaker can be, I think, intimidating. And the playing with trying to pull words together, I was thinking either intentrepreneur or purposepreneur, as a way to kind of mash up some of the concepts that we're talking about. I am a fan of intention. It's part of why I titled my book Intentional Power, because it is about the intent we carry as leaders. People follow that vision that we set with our intention, and the impact we make is tied to our intention. So I think when it starts with the intention, it's very important. I do think, though, of course, not everyone's intention lines up with good things for, or making the world better. So it can be misleading. But I think if we own it as a group, as a collective, then it will be hard for anyone else to co-opt intention with this movement. But those are my thoughts.
Okay, the great feedback. Other feedback before we talk about a few other things.
I
wanted to
like,
throw out a thought that if one were independently wealthy, they would still do the work because it was their purpose to do the work. They would do it for nothing if they could. And I think that describes everybody in SHIFCO. So even though we do not have people that are independently wealthy and we want to help them grow, they've made a business of their purpose so that they could fulfill their purpose and make money at the same time. But I think purpose is really the more important thing here, because we would all do it for nothing if we could.
Mhm.
But SHIFCO exists because folks are usually not independently wealthy coming into SHIFCO. And so then the business part of it becomes important so that they can fulfill their purpose. So I just thought that was, I just kind of want to throw that out there.
I love that, Lisa. You said we made a business of our purpose so that we could grow the impact, so that we could, yeah. So I think that's a really beautiful thing. Thank you.
Steve, I saw you jump in there.
yeah, I like intentional entrepreneur more than conscious entrepreneur. To me, what it does is, by putting them side by side, it makes me realize how passive conscious entrepreneur is. One, something that's not on the page, just to throw out for consideration, kind of along the line of difference maker would be, of change maker would be difference maker. Because again, I think that may be something that for a lot of us, it is about trying to make an impact to some degree that's not just about the business. Anyway, I'll stop there.
No, I like that, because
I like it
we're
too.
either making a difference for others that will ripple to the world, or we're doing maybe a more traditional type business in a different way. So we are a difference.
I like
maker.
that.
I like it. Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to add. I don't have a word per se, but what I feel SHIFCO brings is a different thought process. It's a different way of approaching business. And I think a lot of folks that I've met in SHIFCO, they rebel against traditional business practices because of their impact and because of their purpose itself.
Mindset.
But it's a thought process, and it's an approach. And I don't know if there's a way to weave that in somewhere.
Yep. Okay. Excellent feedback.
I'm going to come from a different perspective. I think this is where I'm coming from. I think you were looking for business people first. People are going to grow their business first. And I think that's where the priority should be. Looking for people who are interested in their growing their business, because that's why I came here. I mean, I'd love to ask the room, what was first on your mind when you joined SHIFCO? The impact you want to have on the world, or growing your business? What was number one?
Growing the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
I grow the business, I grow my impact.
Exactly.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah. I think there was one of the reasons why we charged over $200 a month in our business model, is because the ones that are not about growing the business, it's this weird thing in the pricing model. They want to charge less, and then the ones that, they talk about growing the business, but they don't have the results to back it up, charge $12,000 a year. So we said we knew we wanted to be above $200 a month, because that would put us out of the let's hang out and feel good, and really give us the resources to give the coaches and mentors. But we knew we wanted to attract people that wanted to grow their business. Like that was hands down. Okay, so very good discussion. So let me describe the definition of a change maker, because we are trying to pull this in without using the term change maker. I love difference maker. I think that's going to be a good test one.
Yeah.
A change maker is motivated. This is just straight up from Webster's. Change maker is motivated to improve society and the environment through action. So that action part matters. They're intentional about identifying problems and working towards solutions. They use critical thinking, problem solving, and communication to bring about change. They're often visionary and have purpose and are able to see the impossible as possible and persist even in the face of criticism. They also understand the need for trusted, transparent relationships, and they need to make tough decisions to maintain the integrity of their mission. They give themselves permission to do something about problems, and they keep trying until they've made a difference. They have the courage to see and do things differently. So we're really going to try to pull some of this out, although we did decide, because our vast majority of our member success team revolted at the word change maker, and I trust them implicitly. So we are not going to be using this, but we are going to be pulling in some of these words. So how do you guys, setting aside the name that could be perceived not in a good way, if we just put in difference maker there, and or we use some of these words when we described the intentional entrepreneur or the impactpreneur, how do you guys feel like this describes who you are and your DNA?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so then a couple of other things. The qualities are, you want to use your business as a force for good. I think it's B Lab that uses that a lot. Is that right, Corey? B Lab uses that a lot. Corey, are you still here?
Yes, sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Okay. You want to fulfill your mission by growing your business. So back to that. You're driven to use your business to make the world better, and you use the business as a vehicle to solve important problems. Does that resonate with you guys? Those kinds of words?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Couple more. The attributes, this was the list that we made when we were in Costa Rica. We said, okay, these people that are here, what are some of the attributes? Kind and generous, demonstrates vulnerability and authenticity, supportive of others, seeks connection, committed to being your best self, driven to grow your impact, lifelong learner, on a mission, you take the business seriously, smart business person, balanced with a strong desire for impact. Do you guys feel like those attributes line up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so the roadmap part of this, and then I'm going to give you guys an assignment. We're going to do a series of events, and each of the events are going to be called something different, but it's the same event. So there's going to be one that's going to be the intentional entrepreneur roadmap, the conscious entrepreneur roadmap, and then probably the difference maker roadmap. We'll choose three. It's going to be 3 events, July, August, and September, but they're the exact same events. And what they're just going to be changing the names. So this roadmap is really what we've identified is it really, for you to make an impact in your business, it's got to be purposeful. So what do we mean by that? What that means is you need to know why you're doing it and also how to measure your impact. And we have obviously some great master teachers who teach that kind of content. Second is it needs to be based on value, differentiation, and authentic demand generation. And third is it needs to be growing and scaling. Like those are the components of a business that's making an impact. So the roadmap is going to tie back to these things. It's going to give real actionable strategies for each of these 3 things. And again, the event is going to be the exact same event. The roadmap is going to give strategies for each of these 3 things. Like they'll walk away from the event with something actionable they can put into play for each of these 3 things that elevate their impact. Everybody kind of got that picture. we're going to be pulling for this roadmap training. It's going to be a community public event. We're going to be pulling from some of our best work, Growth Sprint and Demand Gen, Leapfrog, for those of you that have done Leapfrog, the 10K Challenge, Business Simple and Org Design, which is really about capacity building, Breakthrough Coaching, which is really on the personal mindset side, Phase Coaching, and then also Power Teams. And I just wanted to make sure, if you guys don't know about Power Teams, I want to just put a quick commercial in for that. What a power team is we believe we're stronger together. And so power teams share a common language in SHIFCO. They know differentiation, they know demand, and they work together. And if you're not familiar with power teams and that interests you, they plan together, they learn together. It's kind of like a mastermind, but it's a mastermind wrapped around a plan for your business to grow. If that appeals to you, please get with your mentor, because we're getting ready to open up the window for power teams. We open the window twice a year. We're getting ready to open the window for power teams to kick off in Q4. So I just wanted to put that out there. If you're not familiar with it, talk to your mentor and see if your mentor thinks it's time for you to join a power team. We highly recommend it. It's a mastermind format, but I want to really distinguish, it's about the planning of moving your business forward. So is anybody in a power team and just want to comment on it real quickly?
I am in a power team, and I've been in a power team for over 2 years. We were consistent, and then recently, with the last couple of months, we had someone drop off because they went on, and then we added. What I've discovered in the 2 years is that it takes time to build trust, authentic, clear relationships, and now our communication is so powerful. Our intentions and what we're creating, we're always able to inspire, elevate, educate, encourage, and empower each other to move to the next level, to move to the next step, to discover what we're looking for. It's an incredible like she said, it's a common values and common language that you'll create over time. That and the intention is not to, for metrics, is specifically that we will get to metrics and the establishing and the forging of the relationship.
Anybody else want to add 2 cents?
This is Elizabeth. I'm in a power team too, and I would echo really what Michelle said. I mean, the power teams, SHIFCO tries to set up people that are in similar stages of their businesses. So, you're relating to people that have common problems, although in different industries.
Yep.
And it's taken a couple of years for our team too to really gel. But now it's kind of like everybody looks forward to we meet once a month, and we've got a format we follow religiously and hold each other account, yep, as well as kind of an outlet just to talk about whatever's going on. I found it really valuable.
Okay, so thank you guys for both sharing that. So if you want to learn more about the power teams, just schedule time with your mentor, and then there's a little application that you fill out, and then we assemble the power teams in August and September, and they typically kick off in October. Again, we do this twice a year. If you think that will help you grow your business. So here's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. So we're going to do 3 events in the next 3 months that are going to be public events. They're going to be called 3 different things, but it's the exact same event, right? So Conscious Entrepreneur Roadmap, the Intentional Entrepreneur Roadmap, and probably the Difference Maker Entrepreneurial Roadmap would be the third. I think those are going to be the 3 terms we're going to test. The description is going to change just a little bit because we're going to be playing with words. But what I'm asking you guys to do is I want you to identify 3 people that you know that are like you, like, wow, you want to grow your business, you're purposeful, and I want you to invite them to all 3 events. Now I'm not pitching them on SHIFCO. You guys would know I would never do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through, what does it mean to have a purposeful business? What does it mean to have a business that's driven by value? What does it mean to grow your business? I'm going to be pulling from little pieces of SHIFCO content on the roadmap, if you want to increase your impact, you got to have these 3 things in alignment and moving forward. And all 3 of them have to be moving forward for impact to go up. So it'll be a high quality event with some of our best work. I'm personally leading it. It's the same event. I'm just going to be seeing how people respond, and I'm going to be paying very close attention to what type of people show up, who resonates with it. And then they're each going to get a survey after the event asking them a couple of questions, not so much about the event, but about the words and their identity. So for everybody that's listening in, the first one is going to be called the Conscious Entrepreneur Roadmap. It's July 18th. I'm going to send you a link to this, and then, you know, in July I'll send you the one for August, and then in September I'm going to send you the one in September. I really would like you to think about people you know that you're like, man, they should be in SHIFCO. Make that list of people and just share the event with them. Just say, hey, this is a great event. You know, I saw the roadmap. You ought to check it out. Speak about it generically in terms of roadmap, because we are going to be using different names. And let's see if we can get like real feedback. We're also going to have an ad campaign for each of these that we'll be testing different things as well. But I'm really, really interested in people like you and their response. Everybody clear on what I'm asking you to do?
Terry, is your expectation that the same people come to all 3 events?
You know, I've never seen that happen, Kathy. But what I'm curious about is if you invited the same 3 people, which term did they resonate with? And then what was it about them that resonated with that term? You can invite more than 3. You can invite 1 per event. I'm pretty flexible, but I'm looking for, okay, who responded to the Conscious Entrepreneur Roadmap? Were they just people in the launch phase? Were they coaches and mentors? Who responded to the Intentional Entrepreneur? What did they look like? Who responded to the Difference Maker Roadmap? What do they look like? I'm going to be looking at the demographics and the psychographics together to really kind of get a feel for how do we dial this in.
Got it.
Great question, though. Other questions? Okay, so following up on this, I'm going to send the recording of this session for the people that couldn't be here. I'm also going to follow up and I'm going to send you the invite for this first one. Then shortly after this first one, I'm going to send you the invite for the second one. And then shortly after that, I'm going to send you the invite for the third one. Remember, they're the same event. It's going to be a high quality event, actionable things that people could literally walk out of the event and move away with, but it's a market research opportunity. Everybody clear?
Terry, one quick question. The information you're going to send is going to be the message we should send. You're not asking us to come up with different messages.
Correct. Right. I'm going to give you here's how you would say, you know, hey, Elizabeth, I thought of you. I went through this roadmap session. I walked away with a lot of feedback, or, you know, walked away with a lot of insights, and, you know, you should really check it out. And then they're going to click, and you'll notice the description of these are going to be slightly different each time, but it's basically the same thing. It's just going to be a slightly different intention behind it.
And why can't we get these all at one time to give out to people for them to choose between the 3? Would
you rather do it that way, Steve?
I think so. I guess I'm a little unclear on how, as opposed to sending the same note to the same person 3 times about invitations to these.
It's a good point, but I'm hesitant because I'm going to be learning each time. If maybe what you might want to do is pick 2 different people for each one and invite 2 to this one, 2 to this one, and 2 to this one. If it's going to feel like it's too much of an overlap, I'll let you guys choose how to do that. But pay close attention to who you chose for this one and who you chose for that one and who you chose for that one, because that might also tell us something. Again, it's a market research opportunity.
Yep.
Other questions? That was a great one.
Well, I guess one last question. How would you be interested in having people that have been introduced to SHIFCO but haven't joined for some reason?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you could totally go back and circle that list. questions. All right, you guys, I appreciate it so much. Your feedback is incredibly valuable and really, really important to this next leap that we're getting ready to take. You guys mean the world to me. It's an honor to serve you, and I really appreciate you helping us with this research project. Thanks, you guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for including me. Bye.